Today we will discuss an introduction to disaster management by Dr. Kishore. So let's go into the introduction. So the introduction gives a succinct definition of what disaster is and what can be done to manage and mitigate disaster. So according to the author, a disaster is an unexpected, catastrophic event that seriously disrupts the functioning of a society and causes human, material, and economic or environmental loss. So it is an unexpected event, a catastrophe, which has huge potential to destroy everything, that seriously disrupts the functioning of our day-to-day lives and causes human, material, economic, or environmental losses, and is of such a nature or magnitude as to be beyond the coping capacity of the community of the affected area. So it is beyond any human capacity to contain or cope up with such kind of a disaster, particularly of the community that are affected. So natural disasters have become a common part of our life these days, because this year itself we had experienced unexpected heavy rains, and it had created flood situations, causing disruption of day-to-day life and loss of human, material, and economic or environmental losses. Couple of years ago, also Kerala has witnessed severe floods. So natural disaster has become a part of our life that we can't wish away now. So to understand it and to know the solutions for mitigating or managing disaster is inevitable, and it is our responsibility, each and every citizen's responsibility, to know what steps are required to manage a disaster situation. In most cases, disasters are caused by nature. So most often, the kind of disasters that we experience are due to the intervention of nature. But disasters can have human origins also. So disasters can be caused by human beings also. So usually we experience natural calamities or disasters that have origin in nature due to some natural phenomena, but disasters can also be caused by human intervention, or it may have human origins. So a disaster can result in serious injuries, death, and loss of property. So these are the most common and deadly ramifications of disasters. Ramifications means the consequences. So it can cause serious injuries, death, and loss of public property. A disaster can lead to secondary disasters, or there can be offshoots of a disaster, like releasing of hazardous materials and fire. So now let's look at what is the kind of ripple effects disasters cause. So ripple effects are the spreading out of disaster and leading to the ensuing of another set of disasters. So, natural disasters and man made disasters sometimes are of huge magnitude that they result in the ensuing of another set of disasters, which is like creating ripples. So, these disasters may be like spreading of illness or contagious diseases, shutting down of industries, which leads to unemployment, large scale of unemployment and loss of income. Then hospitals and other emergency services get directly affected, especially during floods and heavy rains. Then the spreading of or spilling of particles like liquid particles or other harmful substances in water bodies and the air that we breathe will lead to the contamination of water and air, thus spreading and causing of severe illnesses. So these are the kind of ripple effects that disasters can create. So now let's look at what are man-made disasters. So man-made disasters adversely affect humans, biomes and ecosystems. So man-made disasters include hazardous material spills like the leaking of contagious gases or toxic gases like in the case of Bhopal tragedy. Then the eruption of fires, groundwater contamination, transportation accidents like in the case of the recent collapsing of the aircraft, the crashing of military chopper at Kunur, the Kunur tragedy. This is also an example of disaster. Then structure failures like huge buildings being collapsed are an example. Then mining accidents, explosions and acts of terrorism. So how to reduce the disruptive impact of a natural disaster? So to reduce the ramifications or the impact of a natural disaster is to create awareness, instill education, make people capable of making predictions and enabling them to handle situations, making them prepared. So awareness, education, prediction and preparedness can help governments, institutions and people's communities to manage or mitigate disaster, whether it is natural or man-made. So students can play a vital role in creating awareness among communities. So the aim of this unit is actually to create awareness, particularly in students, about disasters and their mitigation through effective preparedness and management. So in the next lecture, we will have a detailed look at disasters, man-made disasters, natural disasters, and the kind of initiatives governments have taken to mitigate them and so on. Thank you. See you in the next lecture.